I don't even know where to begin. There's so much information and so many theories right now I have on this episode, and we all know next week's episode is going to be the final episode of Season 1, because now they confirmed that there's no 25 episodes or 24 episodes, it's only going to be 12, and they're going to be doing a Season 2, which is scary, because since we've had all this plot drop right here on this episode, okay? And then next week is going to be the final for Season 1, I'm just going to take a quick guess and say something bad, really bad is going to happen next week's episode. It's going to be something like tearjerker, something dramatically is going to happen, or we're all going to rage and bitch at our screen, because it's going to have a terrible, terrible cliffhanger. So this episode, we find out a lot of information, a lot of stuff is going on, a lot of different character development going on, a lot of mysteries building up, and different things that were answered, more questions thrown on top of us. So let's start off with Tama. Now, for one thing, it seems like Tama, as we all pretty much guessed, she's more important than we were originally to believe. As I theorized, a lot of people theorized, Tama most likely was one of the original LRIGs, and the reason why she doesn't remember nothing from her past, or doesn't remember being a human, is because she was one of the originals. And so, we find out that this girl in the freaking room, I want to call her Chibi, since she has the Chibi earrings, pretty much she says that there's certain individual LRIGs that are special. Now, this instantly makes me look at Tama. Tama is instantly different from all LRIGs that we have seen from this series, and so is Iona's LRIG. But what is interesting is, when Tama moves her head this episode, we see her an earring. I don't know if that earring was there to begin with these past couple episodes, but I've never noticed it before. But there was an earring on Tama's ear, and you're probably wondering, why the fuck am I worrying about an earring? Well, the Chibi girl in the white room has pink earrings. Now, all LRIGs we have seen do not have earrings, okay? They have a change of outfit and clothing and all that, but they don't have earrings. But Tama, instantly they do an instant close-up shot on Tama. After this information is revealed that there are certain LRIGs that are special, they do a close-up on Tama's face with her tilting her head, and you see her earring starting to move. So this instantly makes me believe, most likely, these original LRIGs are a part of this Chibi girl. I'm starting to think that. I'm starting to either think they're a part of her, or at the same time, the only way to detect if they're the original LRIGs is that they have earrings. I don't know if Iona's LRIG has earrings or not. It pretty much may confirm if she's a special type of card, but besides that, it's interesting enough they would take the time to do a close-up shot on Tama's earring. So there's definitely something important about Tama that is different. But, of course, she is one of the main characters. So another thing, moving on after that, we find out this girl in the white room, Chibi, states to Yuzuki before she became an LRIG that you have to make your selectors choose a wish that is possible to be. For instance, it has to be something that is possible, like to have friends, have social status, something that is humanly possible. And if it's impossible, like, trying to change the entire world and make it to where all LRIGs never existed and they could come out of the card in their proper world, that's the type of wish that Ruko discovered this episode. And so that would be, in normal means, that would be impossible for someone like Yuzuki to be able to do. But these special individual cards that was said in this episode can make these wishes that normal LRIGs can't. So this makes me believe that the original LRIGs had this form of power. And so, I wonder right now is, why doesn't Tama, if she is one of these cards, which is pretty much obvious she is, why can't she remember all the different people she's probably helped in the past? What makes her different? That's the big question right now. Do all these original LRGs have their memories lost? That's the big question right there. We have to wonder that. And now, here's another thing. Hitoe. Hitoe had a major personality change. Like, we all knew how she was. We knew how she was shy, scared, she wanted to make friends. But in this episode, we see Hitoe's went to the dark side. Literally to the dark side, no pun intended. Because her personality just flopped. Completely upside down. She's evil, technically, as we can see. Well, she's not evil, but she's definitely darker than she used to be. Her personality is definitely nasty compared to what it used to be. And so right there, it shows you what this game also does to people. I mean, we were already depressed about Hitoe, but Hitoe as a character now is one of those people that are like, I just want to battle. I just want to battle and fulfill my wish. I don't care about what my LRIG wants. I don't care what anyone thinks. I want to get my wish. That's exactly what Hitoe is acting like, and we can clearly see that. This girl that wanted friends is evolved into someone like this, which is very heart-touching. And at the same time, if I'm correct from this episode, I could be mistaking something, but the information we are given about this Chibi Kyubey girl in that white room was that the LRIG has to accept your wish. If they do not accept your wish, that would possibly mean that your wish will not come true. But also at the same exact time, if the wish is impossible to be made and the LRIG still continues to try to make that, the LRIG will disappear and die. I'm guessing if they disappear, then most likely they die, pretty much. It might explain why Hitoi's original LRIG told her to rip her card, because she knew for a fact that she could not do the wish that Hitoi wanted because she's already fulfilled that wish. And so I'm guessing if an LRIG card gets ripped, they can reform somewhere else. Now, I think there's going to be some form of precaution around these cards, because, I mean, you have to think, these cards are probably, they're vulnerable to fire, water, different types of damage, so most likely, there has to be, some form of backup to where they can go back into another card. So, I'm going to say right now, most likely, Hitoi's LRIG knew this, and that's why she wanted to be ripped. So moving on after that, okay? It seems like Yuzuki is in a delicate position right now. At the same time, she does not want to help out Hitoi and fulfill her wish because there's no point in it. There really is no point because Yuzuki will disappear and die, and even if it does get fulfilled, Yuzuki will pretty much go into Hitoi's body. So either way, no matter if the wish gets fulfilled or not, Hitoi is fucked. That's the exact thing we can get from this. And the other moment, we see Tama at the end of this episode does not want to Bataru. She does not want to Bataru, and she wants to just be with Ru for the rest of her life. That's as we can clearly see in this, which I understand. As we can see, Tama is a caring person. She hasn't been manipulating Ruko since the very beginning. We can clearly see that in the emotions she has shown in this episode and many episodes before this. So Tama is innocent. So right now we know Tama is an innocent character, and at the same time she's not been trying to manipulate Ruko in any form or fashion. But I'm not going to sit back and say that most likely Tama doesn't have an evil side. I will go right back to that opening song. We see clearly a demonic form of Tama trying to break through a card or glass wall that holds back an LRIG. So there might be an evil side to Tama, or, going back to my original theory I had at the beginning of this video, maybe it's because Tama's like a different being, like separated from the original Kyubey, and so the being we see trying to break through the glass and window might be that, Kyubey girl in the white room. It could be. I mean, what would be the ultimate in-game goal? If we think about this, okay? Think about this logically. What is the purpose of this game? As we have seen, there's an endless cycle. A cycle of tragedy, heartbreak, LRIGs breaking out of cards, getting back into another body, and so forth, and the cycle continues. But what is the main goal? What caused this to start? Why did this start? And who is this person in this white room? This makes me believe, okay? There has to be enough cycles to where enough of these LRIGs constantly go back and forth to generate power. I'm going to Magica Magica type terms here. And the only way to get this person that's stuck in that other world, this other dimension that's between the cards and the real world or whatever, this different dimension, is that I'm guessing she needs to have enough Eternal Girls to be able to wish her out. I'm going to take that as a guess right now. I think that person in that white room can eventually get out, and that's the main in-game goal. She's trying to get out and get in someone's body. Maybe Iona will play a big role in this, because as we see at the end of this episode, Iona knows about this Kyubey girl. She knows about her. Now, here is the thing, okay? How would Iona know who this person is if she is a human? Now, here's the thing. We know for a fact Tama doesn't have any memories. What if Iona was one of the original LRIGs? What if Ruko was one of the original LRIGs? It's possible. Here's another mystery about this episode. Ruko's grandma talks on the phone, okay? And what's interesting, she automatically knows that Ruko's wish is to have friends. She wants to help her friends out. That grandma is suspicious. I've had suspicion from that grandma since the first episode, especially with her entire saying about that tower in the middle. Then we see that saying brought up in this episode. There's something very suspicious about this grandma. As I speculated from the first episode, she's a gamer. She likes games. She makes games. What did you think she would make WIXOSS? I mean, you gotta think about that, okay? So, what if this grandma knows about Tama and the other selectors, and maybe she knows that Ruko is technically not Ruko, but a LRIG? It could be possible. I mean, we don't actually have information right now. We know something traumatic happened in the past with Ruko. And we get a little bit of subtle hints in this episode, and here's going to be me theory crafting about that entire part. Okay, so there's a part where we see that Ruko did not like her parents fighting. She did not like her parents fighting and having arguments, and she used to have a wish. This sounds a lot like my theory I brought up last week. Now, here's the thing. That would mean that Ruko's wish got corrupted. Now, was she originally a selector? And did she, lose her wish? Did she lose 3 times and her wish didn't get granted and the opposite happened? If she had a wish and she brought up her parents that she didn't like them fighting, I guess she wanted her parents to be closer. Okay. And she said, technically in this episode, they were close, but they argued and she didn't like it. So she probably wished for her parents not to argue. Now, let's take this in a different perspective. If Ruko was, saying, a selector, and she wished for her parents to be closer and not to argue, what would be the opposite of her wish to be corrupted? We could clearly see Ruko's parents are not together, because it would explain the entire factor why the mother thinks Ruko's scary, and at the same time, it might explain why Ruko's staying with her grandma. And so, a lot of questions, a lot of interesting things popping up, and I could go on and on about this episode for different things that's brought up, like this tournament coming up. Oh my god, the tournament, it looks so freaking amazing. I don't know what they can do with this, but I mean, if they wanted to, since there is technically going to be a second season, they could focus the setup for the next episode with something to happen with Iona, and the entire setup, maybe Iona losing or going to the White Room, but at the same time, this tournament can continue on. Now, there's something bad going to be happening here. For this many selectors to be here in one place to do battle, and if a lot of them become internal girls, I am guessing something bad will happen, because we clearly see in this episode with the animation that this giant tower in the center is just like warped, like the dimension warps in this entire tower. And so I think they were trying to subtly say that something else is going on here. What if also this dimension that this, Chibi girl is in can come into the real world? What if it's possible that this dimension can spread across the entire city and it can be the real world? It also can be possible. So right now, the main key factors we know up to this point is that this girl in the room, we need to know more about her. We need to know more about what her real goal is, and she has to be the main mastermind, or maybe she's not the main mastermind. Maybe it's someone else, someone that we don't know of. I mean, maybe it can be actually a human being stuck inside of that room, and the original LRIG could have been out. Here's another theory I brought up. I mean, maybe that girl in there is an original human, but at the same time, the original person that was in there, that the Chibi girl, the original person that was in there, got out. It could also be possible right there. I mean, there's different theories, like I said. So anyways, everybody, this is going to be the end of my, I guess, episode 11 of Selector Infected with WIXOSS. Hopefully I didn't bore you all to death on my theory crafting and stuff. Just, I had a lot of thoughts about this episode, and it's definitely a very good episode. I love this fucking series so much. Oh my god. Sad to see it coming to an end next week, I really am, but at the very least, there is confirmed a Season 2. So everybody, I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.